Hi and welcome to the latest game testing session of the Imperial Elves by epicwargaming.com. And today we started on this picture because this is a new model I've just finished here, and this is the new print and play white dragon. There's going to be a gold dragon as well the elves can have, and that's just going to be, well, basically the same sort of model but gold, so I'm just going to be changing the colour scheme. This took about 3 weeks, so really I don't want to be spending another 3 weeks working on a complete new dragon. Anyway, and another reason why we're game testing it today is that it's got 10 attacks instead of 8. And the reason why it has 8 attacks, 10 attacks instead of 8 attacks, is because of its sheer size. It's absolutely huge, is this model. You don't really get to see how big it is until you start seeing it compared to other models on the board, which you will do later on. Also, we're looking at the new Imperial Shadowstalkers. Again, we've game tested this a few times and they generally seem right, but now I've got more time to work on their conceptual art. Generally this is what they're going to have. They're going to have a long broadsword for dealing with beasts and monsters, and they can have them switched to either 2 swords then to deal with more infantry or weak to medium troops. And their sort of job in life is to go through woods or difficult terrain, look for other skirmishes and to totally wipe them off the face of the earth, which they can do because they are pretty hard, though they are still a skirmish unit and can't take on units head on. Anyway, moving on. Today I'm playing Trish, and I'm being the elves. I generally like being the elves, and Trish is going to be the Alancians. I'm over here and Trish is going to be over there. It's also a very good board for me, and I'll just show you why now. Look at this. Trish is playing your usual standard Alancian defensive shooty army, and I have the perfect terrain today to counter that. I've got a big wood here and I've got a big hill there to hide my dragon. The wood also acts as a good sort of shield against the bolt throwers, so you can't shoot the bolt throwers over here because of the wood. Again, those helms are hidden out of view really because of over there. The dragon isn't hidden totally out of view, he's also behind a hill. So yeah, very very good terrain for me. And the bonus is that I've got wood in the middle of the field, so my new Imperial Shadowstalkers, played by the Men of Crack and Corn today, can just nip in there very quickly and then choose the target as they wish. So it's very good for me today. This is a close up of their army. Grand Guards, 3 units of spearmen, initiates there, lovely little skirmish unit. He's got his fire thrower today here, which should do a lot of damage. He's got 4 bolt throwers, 2 you can just see there and 2 there. General, wizard, and I think that's just, and he's got 4 Gigors, very nasty things over there. Pound for pound, perhaps the biggest, nastiest killing monsters in the game so far. Right, I've got a unit of Solus in front of my units. They do very well today. You understand that they're a skirmished sort of cannon for the unit, so when I say well, I mean that they die well, as in they save all these units from here from getting absolutely obliterated from shooting. There's a nice close-up on dragon. You can just see the size of it there compared to normal models. There's the Gigors. Yet we ran out of bolt throws, so we used an Orc Chariot instead. Again, another picture of the dragon. Over here, that's the dragon we were using before, so now you can just see the sheer size of it really compared to a normal dragon. It's just, well, the dragon we were using before, and that's one reason why I gave it 10 attacks instead of 8, because that was being game tested under 8 attacks. So we go to Trish's first turn. Trish had the highest soldiering because he took the Book of Supreme Knowledge, and generally just moves forward and shoots really. Well, he doesn't move the core troops forward, he moves some of them forward. Again, Trish is finding it extremely difficult to shoot me because of the terrain, but I also, because you can't bank on terrain being totally perfect for you during a game, so I took the Banner of Dark Skies really to protect my dragon. And if you take that piece there, it's worth about 700 plus points, and if you take a piece like that, you don't want it being put out by a couple of rubbishy 40-point bolt throwers really. So that's why I took the Banner of Dark Skies, which basically all shooting on the field at the moment suffers -1. If I knew that the terrain was going to be like this, I wouldn't have bothered taking it. So my first turn, I basically just move forward. I apologise for the picture, it's not brilliant, but the Imperial Shadowstalkers nip into that wood where they think they're safe, but I'll come back to that in a minute. Yet I have a very attacking army to get it, so generally I just push forward my entire army. The helms there aren't hanging back. Now, I made a mistake there with those with my shadow stalkers. Look, we usually play from from the base of the tree, i.e. not the leaves or the circumference, but just the base sort of marks out the sort of borderline of the wood. So you can sort of see the borderline of the wood there, and you can just see that one of those guys are popping out. So those Gigors, in fact, could see them basically hiding in the woods. So they nipped in and totally annihilated those guys. They did, in their defence, actually take down one Gigor, but unfortunately, because they're a flimsy rank unit, no matter how hard they are, they still suffered 9 battle stress and they still decided to run. Those Gigors now have faced, they've turned, and they're waiting to sort of counter attack these once these guys have charged them in the front. Tumbling skies there, bang. But I've just moved in all out there. My dragon and everything, they're not going to get a chance to counter attack the Gigors in that wood, because these guys are not going to survive this. I mean, they're not going to survive an attack from a dragon and these guys here, to be quite honest with you. So we can see the damage that both those units do. Most of that, I've got to say, is from the dragon. So the dragon literally rips this unit apart. But the dragon has a fear factor of 5. So this unit's already suffering 5 battle stress even before the combat begins. As you can see, that unit was completely wiped out and just basically marched over by these guys as they ran away. As you can see, I'm now in a very, very good position just to sweep across the entire board. These guys don't re-rally, which they should have done. I even cast a spell, or I failed to cast a spell on them to sort of bring them back. This is just a random picture here, just to illustrate how big the dragon is. As you can see, he's actually bigger than most of the trees in the game. It's huge. Tumbling Skies does a lot of damage on them, and they're not cheap for humans either, 16 points each. Not a brilliant picture again, because I'm sort of holding the camera up in the air, but it illustrates in what a good position the elves are out in. In saying that though, these Gigors have now come out of the wood and they're getting ready to countercharge, and they could actually take on the dragon and kill the dragon. In saying that as well, there's a Beastmaster in there. At the beginning of the game I declared that I had the Eye of the Beholder, so Trish had to declare all his magic items to me, and that guy there, the Beast Slayer, could actually kill the dragon. As a result of that, I chose not to. Oh, look at this. I'll come back to that in a minute, but look at this here. That's Tumbling Skies here, and basically that backfired on me and just wiped out loads of troops and forced that unit to flee in the next battle stress phase. Yet, going back to what I was talking about before, the dragon, instead of charging this unit, which perhaps it should have done anyway, regardless of the Beast Slayer in there, I flew him over here and just breathed on these guys, hoping it would kill so much, which it didn't, unfortunately, and together with the charge from these guys would break this unit, but it wasn't enough, I'm afraid, and they held. But these guys didn't, because of all that damage they took earlier on from Tumbling Skies. They just broke and ran away. But they should come back because of the general and because of the battle banner, and they've got a banner in there, so they'll be back. Again, this unit has held. These Gigors are just licking their lips now, looking at these guys here. They're a big juicy target, and I know it as well. Look, they've charged in there. They're dead now. Those helms are not going to survive a rear attack from 3 Gigors. And if we go back as well, you can see I've even cast a spell on there, a new spell on them to Crown of Command, but that didn't work to hold them together. These guys here, they're taking on the Watch, but these initiates are no match for most troops in combat, so they're going to run away, which they have done, and I've just charged straight through them into those guys. These guys are going to take on the Grand Guard. They've re-rallied, by the way. Yep. Yeah, that unit just got massacred and overrun by the Gigors. It's still looking good for me though. This unit's used its extra movement there just to turn and face the dragon. The dragon's thinking, I'm still not liking him there. That little guy there, that's the Beast Slayer, and he's got his eyes on him. Also, Trish has moved out his numpty, or his we call him a numpty, but he's called the halfwit, and he has the Hourglass of Time. There he is. Has the Hourglass of Time and the Jester's Mace, and if he gets into contact with the dragon, I'm going to lose that dragon for a few turns. So that's why I fly him over here. The numpty's there. Trish's main wizard is there. Oh no, it's not actually his main wizard. His main wizards are mounted somewhere. I don't know where he is. There's his general. It's all looking a bit precarious over here. That dragon's flown in there. There's Trish's numpty. He's going to dive in combat with the dragon after. These guys are dead. The Shadow Stalkers have come back. They've actually made up for them fleeing earlier on, and they've decided to get back into the fight. And they've charged these guys in the rear, which is great news, because that's how you're meant to use Shadow Stalkers if they're not fighting in a wood. Because they're a skirmish unit, you're meant to hit, the sides of unit, pin one unit, and then hit the side of that unit, and they won't buckle then, and then they can sort of use them to like a maximum effect. So bang, that unit's gone. That unit's gone. Yeah, it's not looking good for the humans at the moment. They do get a bit of revenge because these guys don't really stand a chance against these guys because they're a proper formed up unit. These are skirmishes, so again they just got completely wiped out. These guys here, these Gygors, are looking very vulnerable for those elves. Bang. The elves just dive in, they're overlapped. They're gonna buckle. Well, they're not gonna buckle. They're overlapped. They're hitting the rear. So those Gygors run off the board, and this is really it for Trish. Gygors magically appeared. He got hit with the halfwit eventually. Disappeared for a couple of turns, but he's come back now. And that is generally it. And these are the scores for the game. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to add a magic item. I thought I did, but I actually forgot to pay for it. So really, and it was quite an important magic item because the dragon, if we just go back, well actually I can't go back, if we go back, come on, where are you now? The guy on top of the dragon, which we can just see here when it decides to load up, this guy here, he had a magic item that gave him +1 to his fatally wounding throw. I mean, he had to take quite a few fatally wounding throws, and he passed all of them, but he wouldn't have done had I not had that magic item, which I didn't really pay for, but I did include, but I didn't pay for, but never mind. Well, so the game is, even though I won, is actually void because of that one mistake, and that's 50 points. Well, I had, which I shouldn't have had because I didn't include it in my list. So never mind, and I'm very sorry about that, Trish. If anything, the game is a draw, and if that dragon had gone nuts, then it could have been a win to Trish, I have to say as well, so never mind. But from a game testing point of view, it was very good. The new Imperial Shadow Stalkers, I think they're rightly priced at 20 points each. The Jester's Mace is overpowered, way overpowered. And when I wrote it, there wasn't things like dragons flying about. Now there is. I meant it at the moment. If you hit the dragon or whatever you do with it, the dragon will turn around and attack the rider. Well, that nearly 9 times out of 10 will kill the rider. My rider was quite armed up today, so he survived each attack, luckily. But yeah, generally to wipe out, it's only 30 points is the Jester's Mate, so to wipe out 700 points for 30 points is just ludicrous. So now it's been changed. It's still good, but it's been changed. It's been nerfed down. The dragon, well, the dragon did well today, but it was a big target. Everything had a go at it. And it really made me think about the dragon because it is quite heart-stopping. If you play a game like Warhammer and you've got wounds, then generally you don't worry. But in free players, because it's a fatally wounding throw, because it's done on 1 dice throw, if your number comes up, it's dead basically. So every time there's a fatally wounding throw, you do pause for a breath and you're really worried about it. And that happened quite a few times today. So I've actually made the dragon a little more tougher, so there's less chance of losing it as well during a game. But I haven't upped its points too much, simply because the dragon does have one big weakness, or a couple of big weaknesses. One, it's a target, so it's not that hard to get rid of with a halfwit. And two, you have to spend a load of points to actually protect the rider on top, because that is the vulnerable part of the dragon. The dragon's okay, but it's actually the rider. If the rider goes and the dragon goes nuts, which it probably will do, then you've got a rogue dragon you have to deal with, and it could even go nuts enough to attack your own side. So when you're pricing up the dragon, you have to take all this into account. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you guys all next week as well for the next game test of Free Planes and the Elves. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.